ZIA disaster recovery. So we use this in scenarios such as blackout, brownout scenarios, or catastrophic failures. So it's important to understand the default behavior of a Zscaler client connector or ZCC. So if or when the entire Zscaler cloud is down, if that happens, for example, the ZIA portal, mobile admin portals are down, ZIA service edges do not respond to ZCC health checks, so the default behavior of a ZCC is to send the traffic direct to the internet. So whenever this happens, user traffic is not impacted, just that we don't have any protection going on. Now, in scenarios where ZIA service edges still respond to health checks from ZCCs, but maybe in the backend there's a severe performance degradation cloud-wide, or the entire Zscaler cloud is down, such as like we're not able to access the mobile admin portals or ZIA portals are down. This is when we need to trigger the ZIA DR. So how do we talk to the ZCCs to trigger the DR? We use DNS text records for this. So the idea is we pre-configure a DNS host name in the ZCC Client Connector app profile. So we pre-configure it, and then we host the DNS record in the customer's DNS provider. So once it's all configured, every 200 seconds, the ZCC will do a DNS text query to query if the DR needs to be triggered or not. So in a real disaster scenario, the admin will log into the DNS portal on the provider and update the DNS text record to trigger the DR. So once the DR is triggered, then the ZCCs will do whatever is configured in the app profile. So our options are either to send the traffic direct to the internet, use only allow pre-selected sites either by Zscaler or by customer using pack URLs, or we could use a combination of both. We could even forward traffic to our internal proxy or a Zscaler private service edge. We can do that, or we could block traffic if we trigger that DR. So the configuration is quite straightforward. Number one is we create a predefined list. This is where we discuss internally to pick an action whenever the DR event is triggered. Second is we pre-create our DNS text record. So we log into the DNS provider and create our DNS text record. Third is we configure our app profiles. And then last is we create an SOP whenever a disaster scenario happens. Then we can either do a test run on the DR or live when a real disaster scenario happens. So in this demo, we're gonna do a test. Okay, so let's switch to the lab. So in this lab environment, here I have a Windows client machine. I am using an internal DNS server, which is this, and then I'm using on the right-hand side right here in the next tab, I'm using a Windows server for a DNS server. Okay, so first is we create a DNS text record. So I have created the DNS text record here. So it's dr.zia. What was my host name? dr.zia. All right. So I have dr.zia that domain.com for my DNS hostname, and then this is the text record. So V for version equals 1, and then semicolon, B equals off. So B is the actual trigger. So off if the ZIA DR is off, on if we need to activate it to all the users, and then we can also do test right here. So test is to only activate DR on test users, those app profiles where we enabled that this is a test user, right? So that one's pre-configured. So we're just gonna leave it as off, and I will go back to the client machine, and then we'll do a DNS text record lookup to make sure that our DNS text record is good. All right, so this is good. This is our domain, and this is our DNS text record. Version 1, and then B, the actual trigger is off. So we're good. We're done with the DNS text record. Next is we configure the app profile. So we go to the mobile admin and then app profiles for Windows. This is our app profile. And let's go to the disaster recovery tab. So first is we enable this knob, enable ZIA DR. Next is we pick the forwarding action. So we have options, direct internet access, block all internet access if DR is enabled, or policy-based access. So we could either choose Zscaler pre-selected sites. So the list of sites is right here. Just click on the question mark, and the CloudFront URL will show all the list of sites. Or we can use a combination of customer pack URL. So if you want to only allow sites from customer selected sites, so we can use only this, or we could use it in conjunction with the Zscaler pre-selected sites. Customer pack URL will take precedence. And then we could, if we want to do the customer pack URL, just put the URL here where the pack file is hosted. Could be an AWS S3 bucket or in Azure. Next is the ZIA domain name. So this is the domain name that we configured earlier. So we configured the domain here. And then so this is the domain where the ZCC will do the DNS text query every 200 seconds. So, and then signing, we're not going to use it here, but it's an option. And then next is activation. So this app profile is a test mode. So meaning we can trigger this if we update the DNS text record to test. So if we do it in test, only the app profiles with this enabled will trigger the DR. All other app profiles, like for production users, will not trigger the DR. This is good for testing purposes. Right? So we're done. We don't need to click on save. And then, yeah, we're done. So to trigger the DR, it's super straightforward. The admin just need to log into the DNS provider, the portal, and then update the DNS text record. So let's update this DNS text record here. So again, if it's on, if we change the value in B to on, it's gonna enable DR to everyone else. But in this scenario, we'll just do a test. So only those app profiles with those test activation will trigger the DR. And then also the best practice is to set the TTL to lowest as possible. Zscaler recommends 30 seconds. And then apply. Okay. And let's switch to our client machine. Now it's set to test, and it should trigger the DR. Now the ZCC will, again, it will do a DNS text query for 200 seconds, so we need to wait for the next 200 seconds. But we could also force the update just by clicking the update policy button right here. All right, and then it should trigger the DR shortly. Okay, and we got the notification here that it's on safe mode, and it's in safe mode right now. So safe mode means we just trigger the ZIA DR. Now, what did we configure for the ZIA DR here? Okay, so we did direct internet access. So we have direct internet access here with that when this is triggered. So cnbc.com, we have internet access. That's it. Thank you everyone for checking out this video.